Apple just released iOS 26.4 Beta 3 to registered developers and soon to beta testers just 1 week after the release of Beta 2. So we are on a weekly release schedule for these iOS 26.4 betas. Now, along with this update, we did also receive the third beta for iPadOS 26.4, watchOS 26.4, tvOS and HomePod version 26.4, and visionOS 26.4. We should be seeing macOS Tahoe 26.4 Beta 3 soon. But of course, in this video, like always, we are talking about iOS 26.4 Beta 3 and everything new in the software. So let's start with the size of this update because it came in at a modest 1.68 gigabytes on my 17 Pro Max, which of course was coming from Beta 2. Now, if we go ahead and check out the build number here, if we head into our settings, general about, you can go to iOS version right here and then tap on the version number. It's 23E5223F. So we do still have an F at the end of the build number, which does indicate we still have at least a couple more betas to go before that final release. Now, if we go down, a more significant update here is in the modem firmware because this went from 1.54.03 to 1.55.03 on the iPhone 17 series. All right, so now what's new here in iOS 26.4 Beta 3? And the first thing is something that I was very excited about at first, and that is that we have new emojis in iOS 26.4 Beta 3, but you can't actually see them. So if we go into our keyboard here and go into our emoji picker and then go over to the smileys, you'll see where we're supposed to have this new distorted face emoji, which looks like this. We now have a little square with a question mark in the middle. And that's because the image is not actually rendering on our devices. So the emoji are technically there, but they're just not visible on our devices, which is pretty crazy. I don't think I've seen this before in an iOS beta update. So yes, the new emojis, and as you keep scrolling, you will see because there are some different ones here, like for, the animals. We have an orca, we have a hairy creature, and if you go on, you will see a few more like this one right here. If you tap on it, it shows fight cloud, and you can kind of see the new emoji, but they all show up as those little squares with a question mark in it. Now, if I send this to an Android device, check this out. I can actually see what those emojis look like. So yes, if you have an Android device with the latest software, you will be able to see those new emojis, and you cannot see them if you have an iPhone, even if you're on the latest beta version. So pretty interesting, but you can see that's kind of an example of what these emojis will look like. Of course, they will look a bit different on iOS versus what they look like on Android like always, but that is a little preview of them. And of course, you can always tap on the little square with the question mark to see, what that is. Like this one, for example, is going to be a trombone because it shows it right there. Also, the App Store bug has been fixed. So now it's back to normal and not excruciatingly slow like it was in Beta 2. Even when you went to different tabs, like if I go to Arcade, for example, take a look at how much faster Beta 3 is over here on the right than Beta 2 on the left. And it was like that for everything. And even if you search for something, take a look at suggested. That doesn't even populate on Beta 2 for a while, even though we're on the same connection here. It's just much snappier, and you will notice this with Beta 3. Now, interestingly enough, in Beta 3, if we go into our settings, accessibility, display, and text size, and then go down to the reduce highlighting effects, you'll notice that I've had that on the whole time throughout this video. However, I've not been able to see anything different. Nothing has changed when I enable this. So I'm still not so sure if this is even doing anything, because we don't really know exactly what it's supposed to do, but I've tried everything based on, just what we have, which is reduce highlighting effects. So, some people think that's if you go right here and you go to edit, which by the way, this is new in Beta 2, where you have this liquid glass design now for this section of the home screen. But you can see that even this has nothing changed. So we can still see like the highlighting effect when I go over each of these menu options. So it doesn't seem like this reduce highlighting effects actually does anything. At least I've not been able to see, anything changed with that so far. So hopefully we'll see a change, and hopefully we'll see, maybe Apple put a description there for what we're supposed to be looking for. This update also fixes the biggest bug I've had on iOS 26.4 ever since Beta 1, and that is the spotlight search being completely broken. No matter what I would search for, it would either show me no results or it would not update the results up top to give me the top hits. Like when I type in PO, you can see sometimes it's also really slow. Take a look at that. You saw that in real time, how long it took for podcasts to actually show up there, or anything really to show up at the top for top hit. So Spotlight Search has finally been fixed here, because that was not fixed in beta 2, but it's finally been fixed here in beta 3. And also, if you play a video podcast, you'll notice that the captions now work every time on beta 3. For some reason in beta 2, it was very hit or miss. It's working now, but it would either take really long to show up or it just wouldn't show up at all. But I noticed that now it looks like the captions show up right away, and they are very consistent in beta 3. And if you had issues with the Gmail application in beta 2, where you literally could not even send a message, an email, that has been fixed with beta 3. Apparently that was not a Gmail issue, that was a beta 2 issue with iOS. There's also a small change in the fitness application, and this was found in the code. So Aaron P says that this update adds a new share message from the fitness application, such as I swam in open water for blank with the fitness app on my iPhone. So I'm not really sure if that's different from when you just go ahead and haptic press on a session right here and then go to share and then go to messages. It's always shown that, and doesn't look like there's anything new right here that I can see. So I'm not really sure, what this change is, but it is something new that was found in the code. Now, I should also mention that the end-to-end encryption feature appears to be fixed in beta 3. So for some reason in beta 2, when I had end-to-end encryption or just encryption turned on for RCS messages, specifically when contacting an Android user, somebody on an Android, it completely broke RCS for me. Like, my messages would only send as SMS, they would not send as RCS, but that appears to be fixed. As you can see down here, it now shows RCS, whereas before it was only in SMS. Now, of course, if we go into the App Store or the Games application, you will notice that the search menu item is still connected to the rest of the navigation bar down here. So a lot of you guys were not happy about that, are still not happy about that, because again, before in 26.3, it was separate. It was separated over here in the music application and the App Store and Games. But now, for some reason, if you go into the App Store, it's still disconnected over here. It's on its own, but now in the App Store and Games, it's over here connected to the rest of the navigation menu. So again, that is not a bug. That was confirmed with beta 2, and it still remains here in beta 3. However, something that I still think needs to be fixed is if you go into your profile right here, if you take a look at the add money option, that appears to be slightly misaligned with the other two options for redeem code and send a gift. It seems to be a couple pixels lower. Now, something interesting is that the age verification pop-up screen is still appearing for those in the UK and also in Australia, although Apple just recently confirmed that this is actually a bug in 26.4 beta 2. So I'm not sure why this is appearing again for users in the UK in beta 3 if Apple came out and said that is a bug. So if you do live in the UK, please let me know if you're also seeing this. I had people in the Discord who are in the UK telling me that this is still appearing for them. And then if we take a look at the release notes for iOS 26.4 beta 3, you can see a lot of the same things we've seen in previous release notes. So nothing really stands out here, but if you do want to look through this, I will leave it down below in the description for you to go through. Now, when it comes to performance, I did go ahead and run a Geekbench test here on beta 3, and you can see we scored a 3837 on the single core, 9908 on the multi-core, which is pretty solid. That is about the same that I got on beta 2. However, it does seem already like beta 3 is going to perform better than beta 2, because if you guys watch my Apple Weekly video, I told you guys that performance has not been great. I've had a lot of issues. I've had random reboots. My Spotlight search is just simply not working almost every single time. So I would expect almost all of those, if not all of those, to be completely fixed here in beta 3. And that means a lot more than having a higher Geekbench score. And then when it comes to the battery life, I'm currently sitting at 90%. So you guys will have to tell me what I started this video with, because I feel like this is really good battery. I feel like I started this video at 90%. It's been 20 minutes I've been shooting this. So it looks like battery life is better as well. I'm not going to say it for sure, but just my first impressions, it does feel like battery life has also been improved with beta 3. And if that's the case, this is going to be a pretty significant update or upgrade from beta 2 if you are somebody who's using this on a daily basis like I am. Okay, so now let's talk about what to expect next from Apple. So next up is going to be iOS 26.4 beta 4, and I would expect that to get released next week, just like we've been seeing all along for these beta updates ever since beta 1, which was quite a surprise, but it is something that I'm not really complaining about. So weekly betas betas are always welcomed in my book. So next week, the week of March 9th, is when we should see iOS 26.4 beta 4. Then we could see a 5th beta the next week, RC the following week, and then potentially a final release of iOS 26.4 right there on March 30th. Now, of course, those are just tentative dates. Those are just predictions, but that is something that we could see. We could go up to 5 betas before an RC based on the build number being an F in this build. So it's either going to be 4 or 5 betas. I would not expect any more than that. Now, we could also see iOS 26.3.1 as early as tomorrow. Like, this could come as early as this week. It could also potentially come next week before the new Apple products actually launch, because as you guys know, today Apple did announce new products and they are going to be released mid next week. So we could see that 26.3.1 update come out this week or early next week, maybe on the 9th, 10th, or 11th. So we'll have to wait and see, but those are the 2 updates we are expecting. So anyways, guys, there you have it. That is iOS 26.4 beta 3. If you were struggling with performance, battery life, just a lot of bugs, a lot of issues on beta 2, you definitely want to go ahead and update here to beta 3. I can already tell it is going to be a bit better than beta 2, which is a good sign. But of course, as always, you guys should not install betas on your main primary device unless you are willing to put up with these bugs, because this is not a final release. This is not final software. That's why I usually recommend only installing this on a secondary device or just on, a device that you don't necessarily mind having bugs on. But anyways, guys, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments section below. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.